So good day to you. My name is Justin Nettmann. I represent an organization called EPICS, and it's a consolidation effectively of a whole lot of civil society organizations that are coming together to uphold democracy in South Africa. And what is happening is that, and as you all know, is that South Africa is in 100 days, in less in fact than 100 days, on the 29th of May, is going to be going into elections. And the mandated body for the oversight of elections, or the running of elections, should I say, is the the Independent Electoral Commission of South Africa. And what this organization, EPICS, was formed to do was to become an entity that would provide oversight into the electoral process, or oversight with regards to the electoral process. And so we set about looking at best practices that had been adopted globally to implement these things. And so what we did was we looked at why we needed it. And the reason why we needed it was we understood that South Africa was at a tipping point. It's now reached a crossroads. The country is in a disarray in certain areas, and we believed that we needed to create an organization that was for the people, by the people, to uphold democracy. And so Ed and myself went out on a limb effectively, and we'd developed these systems and implemented these systems together with partners that would allow us to deploy observers in polling stations during the course of the lead up to the election day, and after the election. And what we understood was that there were two possible options. The first option was that we could deploy an observer at a polling station, every polling station, some 23,000 or thereabouts. But that would necessitate huge logistics. It would require big operations. We would need huge amounts of funding. It was just, we didn't see it as a feasible option. But what we did see as a second option that was well suited and more suited to what we wanted to do was option number two. And option number two is effectively a globally accepted standard in terms of an option, in that what we do is, using the sample modality or using samples, we are able to deploy a far smaller team of 1,500 observers who are handpicked. They're very well trained. They are given the necessary, they are provisioned with the necessary equipment, such as a smartphone, and they are provided a technology which has already been used globally to collect data. And that data, once analyzed and a methodology applied to it, provides us the ability to verify or disprove data. And it's the first time in South Africa that that technology would be deployed. And I say the word would, because at this present moment, myself and Ed have carried this, should I say, burden, if you will. We've done everything to the point at which we now need to reach out and hand that burden, if you will, over to the next group of individuals. And what I mean by that is we need to operationalize it with the observers. So we now need to start the data collection, or the data collection operation. And that's requiring funding. And we need funding. And the idea would be that with that funding, we could then move into our stage two of the operation, whereby we would bring our observers together, we would vet our observers, we would train our observers, and we would then deploy our observers for the process of collecting data. And that data would then provide us with the ability to contest or object to results that potentially have been put forward by the IEC as the electoral management body in this country. And that's a very powerful tool, because we haven't had anything like that before. And in 2008, 2009, there were disputes around certain provinces in this country. Those disputes were not proven to be true or not. They were simply just, they were just accepted because the EMB, in this case the IEC, had put forward the results and said these are what the results were. And when a particular political party questioned it, there was no alternative other than what the IEC had given them. But now we have the ability, should we get the funding which we so desperately need to roll this process out, there is a second option. There is an option of looking at a neutral, non-partisan organization that has collected data, that has used a globally accepted methodology to define and to analyze that data, to provide a second opinion, if you will, which could be used in a positive manner to strengthen democracy. And so the idea is that we are not a stick to beat people with at all. What we are is, we are an oversight organization, or an organization that is going to oversee, if you will, the process of elections in a controlled manner that is used globally and is accepted globally. And in fact, it has been already funded to a point. We've received funding from the Australians, we've received funding from the Canadians, we've received funding from Millennium Trust. And in fact, not only have we received funding, but we've also been endorsed. And we've been endorsed by a number of organizations. Unashamedly Ethical, DDP, and we are in the process, in fact, of getting the endorsement from the IEC themselves. And they welcome this, in that they see this as another mechanism in which to strengthen their own transparency and to ensure that we can uphold our democratic right, which is encased in our Constitution, and a hard-fought Constitution at that. So this plea, a message today, is that we cannot do this on our own. We've given everything. We've given our time away from our families. We've used our own monies. We've done virtually everything that we can do now. We've set the groundwork. We've done all the hard work. We now need to operationalize it. And this is where we need, collectively, every South African, whether it be young, old, big business, small business, every little bit will count, because it'll allow us to take this operational oversight mechanism and push it into the right direction, push it into the correct lane. And so I implore you that if you love this country, as I do, you will reach out and you will help us. I hope this message is clear, and I hope it falls warmly on your ears, because we have got to a point where we've now run aground, and we're going to need many people to help us pull back and get this thing running again. So thank you for the opportunity you've afforded me. Thank you for your time, and I'm hoping that you can help us bring this to reality and save effectively this beautiful country. Thank you.